Hey everybody, this is Sean Coffey here with Bo Ben. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've watched before or you're a subscriber, welcome back. Today's video is going to be about peep sights and the different types of peep sights, the different sizes of peep sights, the advantages and different disadvantages to the different sizes of peep sights, smaller and larger, and then at the end I'll kind of give you my opinion on what works best for me. Take it or leave it. Might work for you, might not. So, obviously, if you've been shooting a compound bow for any amount of time, you know that this is your peep sight here. You have, I think there's 3 or 4 like standard sizes of peep sights that most people use that the manufacturers make. I don't know the exact measurements off the top of my head, but it goes from small, very small, to pretty large. Your smaller peep sights people tend to shoot more accurately with a smaller peep sight because you're focused in. It's a smaller circle, so it's a smaller diameter, so you're able to focus in on a smaller area. That's why a lot of target archers, a lot of 3D shooters and spot shooters like to use a smaller peep because they're more accurate with it because they can zone in on that little bitty 10 ring or that little bitty circle on the target. But the problem with them is you don't have as much of a field of view with that smaller diameter circle. So when you got that one eye closed and you're looking through there, you can't see as much in your peripherals. Also, since it's a smaller diameter target, they're harder to center the target in that peep and on your pin quickly. You can do it, but you can't do it quickly. Also, in low light, since it's a smaller diameter aperture hole, there's not as much light going in to that circle. Your larger diameter peeps, they aren't typically as accurate. Guys aren't typically as accurate with them because you're not. You're not, like I said, you're not like with a smaller one. Like I said, you're focused on a little area. With these bigger peep sights, like I have here, you got a bigger area to look at. So there's more to focus on. So you're not focusing on just this little bitty dot or this little bitty hair. You're focused on a lot of other things. So a lot of guys tend to not be as accurate with them, but your field of view is much, much longer, and you can much more quickly center your target in the peep. Also, in low light, they're great. They bring in a ton of light in low light. When I first kind of got into bow hunting, had a couple situations in low light where I made some pretty bad shots on deer. And I got to talking to the local bow shop owner here, and he said, well, why don't you try to use a bigger peep sight? You got this, I had one of the really small peep sights, which at the time I was new to bow hunting and archery. I didn't even know there was different size peep sights, and I didn't realize that mine was the smallest one you could get. And he said, oh man, you should put a bigger one on there and see if you like it. And ever since then, that was, 12 years ago, maybe longer than that, I've been using this. I don't know exactly what size it is. Like I said, I don't know the exact measurements of all these, but I think this is one of the biggest ones you can get. So, in my opinion, the larger sights, peep sights, are much better for deer hunting. Deer are crepuscular animals, meaning they like to move at dawn and at dusk, the lowest light conditions besides nighttime, which means you need, in my opinion, a larger peep sight to bring in more light. The same as, I like to, when I rifle hunt, to have a 50 millimeter lens on my scope because it brings in more light and it makes a huge difference in low light. I can see much better and shoot much more accurately with a larger diameter circle in your peep sight. Like I said, also your field of view is much better. So you can, as you're at full draw, you can focus on multiple things at once. You know, you can see a lot of things going on around you, which you need to be able to do when you're deer hunting. Also, like I said, you can center that pin, and you can center your target in these wide aperture peep sights much more quickly, that's something that's also a huge advantage when you're deer hunting, because most situations when you're deer hunting, especially during the rut, it's quick. You know, you got 10 seconds maybe to make a decision, draw your bow back, and pull a shot off. You need to be able to center that peep. You need to be able to have a large field of view, and you need to, in low light situations, be able to see what you're doing. And like I said, I guess the disadvantage would be a lot of guys don't shoot as accurately with them, I guess. I don't know. I've been shooting them for so long. I mean, I'm pretty accurate with my bow, so I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But like I said, in my opinion, these larger diameter peep sights like I got here are the way to go. Also, a lot of guys shoot what they call like a tubed peep sight. So you'd have like a tube, see if you can see here, going from, it's connected to your peep that goes to like one of your cables back here or somewhere back here, to where when you draw, that tube, it's curled up when your bow's down. When you draw and you're at full draw, that tube tightens and then it pulls your peep sight into place. I used one of those for a few years, and I killed quite a few deer with it, but the problem was the rubber tube would constantly dry right out, because when you're hunting, you're outside in the cold, in the hot, in the rain, all these temperature changes and different humidity changes, and it's tough on that rubber. So I was constantly replacing that tube. And another thing too is, if you shoot a lot like I do, that rubber stretches. So then that rubber gets loose, so when you're at full draw, your peep doesn't want to turn all the way. It only half turns, or doesn't, you know, just a quarter turn, because that rubber isn't pulling hard enough on the peep to bring it back center where it needs to be, where you can see through it. I like using these, what they call a tubeless, sorry, I bumped the camera there, a tubeless peep. I guess the disadvantage to them is sometimes, especially with the newer string, it takes a while. You have to do what they call train it. So you just kind of center it and then draw back, and then just, you know, for, you know, 100 shots or so, just turn it where you need it, and then eventually it'll train that peep. Like this peep always goes where I want it to go. But with a newer string, just because they're stretching and they're, you know, they're not quite loosened up yet, peep's going to want to walk on you and move a little bit. But like I said, if you just kind of just, before every shot, once you get your arrow on there, just kind of twist it a little bit, whatever direction you need it to go, and then draw, it'll eventually set where you want it to go. So I know that was a really long-winded, you know, kind of nonsense kind of video about me going on and on about peep sights, but it is a very important thing, especially to me. The number one thing about having a larger peep sight is the low light conditions. And I don't think that many guys, I haven't heard too many guys talking about different peep sight sizes, but it does make a big difference. So take it, like I said, take it or leave it. But if you were looking into different sizes of peep sights and you were wondering what works better in different situations, or you're wanting to go deer hunting, in my opinion, this is the way to go. The tubeless, larger diameter peep sight. So, alright, thanks for watching.